Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Tianling City. Since the nearby Yaowang Valley will be opened in a few days, a large number of monks from all over the world have gathered here. Whether it is an inn or a tavern, they are basically full. Walking casually to the street, it is a common phenomenon to build a foundation every 5 steps and a golden elixir every 10 steps. Although there were occasional conflicts between monks during the period, they were quickly extinguished because there were too many big bosses hidden here, and they were afraid of accidentally bumping into someone and leaving their bodies lying on the streets. Dragon Inn. It was full of people and lively. 4 hooded figures stood in front of the store looking at the plaque. "Master, this is the largest inn within 100 miles. Li Wujia said respectfully, "We can stay here for a few days and wait until the Medicine King Valley is officially opened before entering." The tall figure at the head had thick silver-white hair hidden inside. Under the brim of the hat, there was a handsome face with eyes as bright as stars. Junlin nodded, "Okay, this is it. Although you can stay on Kuanpeng, it gets a bit boring after a long time. If you stay in this inn, you can also appreciate the local customs and find out interesting things that happened recently. Guests, please come in," the waiter said, extending his hand. Junlin and the others walked in. Because they wore hoods to hide their appearance, the guests didn't pay much attention. The reason for doing this is mainly because they are afraid of affecting the order around them. After all, in the entire eastern region cultivation world, Junlin and the 4 of them are so recognizable that it is difficult not to attract attention when they are together. "Master, why do we have to be secretive?" Hong Qianya, who was following behind, hesitated for a long time before mustering up the courage to speak. In the view of the leader of the demon cult, their group has absolute strength, so why should they care about the eyes of the outside world? Anyone who dares to gossip will be killed directly. "Hey, now that I am so famous, I will definitely have a lot of fanatic fans. If my identity is exposed, they will all rush to get my autograph. This will make me very distressed." Junlin sighed. Hear the words. Hong Qianya seemed to be choked, and the muscles in the corners of his eyes were twitching. Along the way, he thought of countless reasons, but he never thought of this. Sure enough, I shouldn't try to figure out his intentions like a normal person. I was wrong. Big mistake. Hong Qianya took a deep breath, his expression full of self-blame, and he was rebuilding her psychology. "Waiter, are there any recommended dishes here?" Junlin chose a seat on the second floor and sat down, tapping his fingers lightly on the table and asked. The waiter ran over quickly and said with a bright smile, "Sir, you have asked the right person. I will recommend some of our signature dishes to you. I guarantee that the taste will be truly authentic." As he spoke, he opened the menu and introduced, "Look at this dish, it's called braised lion's head. The lion's head here is taken from a roaring lion in the nascent soul stage. Our chef chopped off its head. After being roasted repeatedly by goblin fire, the skin is crispy and delicious, and the meat is tender and plump. There is also this sweet and sour carp dish. This carp is not an ordinary thing. It contains a trace of real dragon blood in its body. It tastes so delicious. It's very fragrant. And this stir-fried beef, the ingredients are taken from the azure beef that has been cultivated as a god. After eating it, you will be extremely powerful and have an enhanced effect on chi and blood." While the waiter introduced these signature dishes, he secretly observed Junlin's expression. Because the prices of these dishes are very expensive, although there are more people these days, few monks staying in the hotel can afford to eat them. They were all persuaded to leave after seeing the prices marked on the menu. But this time, it seems a little different. At this time, Junlin was not daunted by the sky-high price of the menu. He was someone who had seen big scenes. After all, at the state banquet prepared by Dezhou, every dish was priceless. Even the ordinary scrambled eggs with tomatoes were made from golden-wing dopeng eggs. As for the items introduced by the waiter, I can only say that they are a bit new, but not particularly exaggerated. What about this? Shushu thinks this is delicious. At this time, Bai Xiaoxi pointed to a dish called snowflake jade pork on the menu and said curiously. The waiter smiled and said, "My guest, you are really discerning. The ingredients for this dish are taken from the polar ice rat. The polar ice rat comes from the cold extreme north and likes to live in the glacier. After our chef's professional after processing, the meat will be very plump, and every cut of the meat will be as crystal clear as snowflakes, hence the name. It is recommended to set up a stove here to cook the meat." Bai Xiaoxi, who originally still had an appetite, was so frightened that she almost fell to the ground with a myocardial infarction after hearing this cruel description. "Sir, do you want this dish?" the waiter asked tentatively. "No more. No more shushu." Bai Xiaoxi waved her hands repeatedly, her voice filled with tears. The waiter looked strange. Why did this little girl react so loudly? Wait, why do I seem to see a furry rat face? Ahem, except for the snowflakes and jade meat, I want everything you said before, one by one. Yi Junlin took out the storage ring and slapped it on the table with a generous slap. The waiter was startled. He was immersed in his spiritual consciousness. When he saw the mountains of high-grade spiritual crystals piled up in the space, his mouth felt dry and his heart beat like a drum. Good guy, this is a rich man. Here, guest, please wait for a moment, and I will notify the chef to cook it for you. The waiter trembled with fright, and then quickly left the scene. Yi Junlin shook his head. The amount of spiritual crystals he signed in and received during this period was enough for him to buy an ordinary dynasty. And what I spent just now was just a drizzle. Wow, rats are so cute, why do they eat rats? Bai Xiaoxi held her head in her hands, with tears in her eyes, feeling sad for what happened to her kind. Okay. The waiter was very happy. He put the towel on his shoulders and shouted excitedly, "Give these guests a plate of fried lobster." Seeing that the storm subsided, Longmen and returned to normal. Yi Junlin looked back and said with a smile, "This kind of inn run by practitioners is quite interesting." Li Wujie crossed his arms and commented seasonedly, "Well, in my disciple's humble opinion, that cook's knife skills are very good. He can draw the knife quickly and accurately. He practices strong and domineering knife skills, as he just said. The breath is a little unstable, probably caused by being too hasty. He is a swordsman and a swordsman." Shh! Listen, someone seems to be talking about us. Hong Qianye's eyes narrowed slightly. It's normal. I have a lot of fans. Yi Junlin pretended to be calm, but actually raised his ears and listened carefully. The inn was buzzing with discussions, and they were concentrating on one topic. What a sin. I met that damn bastard Yi Junlin a while ago. All the spiritual crystals I have worked hard for most of my life were robbed by him. Damn, so am I. Not only the spiritual crystals, but also 6 7th grade treasures, 30 Shen level talismans, and 5 earth grade elixirs, were all snatched away by him, a man who suffered 1,000 blows. Wow, it looks like everyone has been robbed. I thought I was the only one unlucky enough to be caught by that old dog. Hey, seeing all the fellow Taoists suffering from it, for some reason I suddenly feel more balanced. Fierce discussions filled the surrounding area. 80% of the victims in the entire Longmen Inn stood up and denounced Yi Junlin as a shameless and despicable person. It was like a large-scale venting of anger. Yi Junlin was yelling at Yi Junlin. It can be said that the crowd was furious and filled with righteous indignation. It seems that the Yi Junlin they talk about is a heinous thug who deserves to be punished by heaven and earth, crushed to pieces, sent to the 18th level of hell, and never reborn. Chi chi chi. Hong Qianye lowered his head, his shoulders shaking, as if he was suppressing a smile. At this time, the leader of the demon sect was so happy that he heard the guests yelling and denouncing Yi Junlin crazily. He just felt that the retribution of heavenly law was unsatisfactory, and every pore in his body was stretching, and even the soul in his body was about to leave his body. You heroes, what a great scolding. I cursed out everything that was in my heart. Yi Junlin, there were times when you were despised by thousands of people. See, this is what the people want. Hong Qianye, who was also a victim, felt a sense of empathy from the bottom of his heart when he heard this group of people angrily scolding Yi Junlin. Pure reality substitute. So cool, so happy. Li Wujie's face was full of shock, he did not expect this situation at all. In his impression, his master does not seem like someone who would do such a thing. Immediately afterwards, Li Wujie's face was replaced by murderous intent. He firmly grasped the handle of the knife with his right hand and stood up to draw it out and start killing. Insult my master and die. At this time, a big hand pressed down on his shoulder, forcing Li Wujie back. Li Wujie's eyes flashed with astonishment. Master, you. Yi Junlin shook his head. Don't be impulsive. Listen to what they say. It's obvious that someone is pretending to be me and cheating. Being scolded for no reason would make anyone feel unhappy. It really lives up to that sentence. People are sitting at home and pots come from heaven. Yi Junlin tried his best to calm down, his face looked a little ugly. From the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of the eldest disciple next to him who was lowering his head, and said meaningfully, Xiao Hong, just laugh if you want to, don't hold your body back. Hearing this, Hong Qianye's back suddenly felt cold, and large beads of sweat overflowed from his forehead. Then, he quickly adjusted his state. When he raised his head again, his face was full of anger, and his eyes almost burst out with anger. He gritted his teeth in anger and said, Damn, these ants deserve to be damned. Master, as long as you give the order, disciple, I will take action immediately. No one will be left alive. Yi Junlin. Yi Junlin knew that this man had a sinister nature, and he must be so happy to see him being scolded that he almost showed his true colors. He joined in the excitement. And that sword demon Li Wujie. The dog is really not a human. He used the name of his master Yi Junlin to bully us and force us to obey him. That's right. Seeing his arrogance at that time, I wanted to spit on his face. Then I pointed at his nose and cursed, Bah, who do you think you are? Why didn't you get beaten to death at the Shui family banquet? In my opinion, he is a mad dog raised by Yi Junlin, who was specially released to bite people. Suddenly, the victims around him shifted their spearheads to Li Wujie, and their words were all kind of cordial greetings, the kind that could be turned over to scold the family tree. At this time, Li Wujie, who was still angry about his master being criticized, became even more angry after hearing these words. Damn it, why do I have to be scolded too? I have a fake one too. And it seems that the guy is not bad? Yi Junlin coughed a few times. Little Li, it's okay, your master is with you. Li Wujie's face turned red, and he held it in his mouth for a long time before he uttered a sentence. Damn it, don't let me catch that guy, otherwise I will chop him to death. Although he is known as the Sword Demon and is notorious in many dojo, he has fought for it in an upright manner. As a result, there are thieves who use his identity to cheat and rob ill-gotten gains. This kind of shameless operation is the first time I have seen it. Hong Qianye's back teeth are almost broken, his eyebrows are twisted into knots, and his fists and his sleeves are clenched tightly. No, it's too funny. If this goes on, I will have internal injuries. From just now to now, Hong Qianye has been looking at it as a bystander. Whether Yi Junlin or Li Wujie is scolded, it doesn't make much difference in his heart. The only thing that made me feel uncomfortable was that I couldn't laugh out loud. Just then, a tall and strong man thought of something and waved his hand and said, Let's not talk about that mad dog Li Wujie, let's talk about Yi Junlin's eldest disciple. It is said that Fairy Hong is beautiful and has a cold and unparalleled temperament, which makes countless men admire her. But when I saw her in person, I found that there was a big gap between her and the rumors. Although her appearance is also very high, for some reason, she gives people a strong smell of the world, just like a girl from a brothel. Another man who was as short as Wu Dalong agreed. I saw him stroking his chin, and said, Your Excellency is not false. Based on my many years of experience in the fireworks place, the Red Fairy is at most a medium to high quality product. I really don't know why the outside world exaggerates. It is true that hearing is false and seeing is believing. My fellow Taoist, your evaluation is already very objective. When I saw the red fairy, I almost drooled. It was really magnificent there. I really wanted to play with it. Another man smiled with a lewd face. In an instant, everyone laughed, and the anger was diluted a lot, and the atmosphere suddenly became lively. Many male monks didn't say anything, but they exchanged eyes with each other, and they all knew it. Hearing this, Hong Qianye's expression was stiff, and the smile in his heart disappeared, replaced by a raging anger. You. He was so angry that his whole body was shaking, his teeth were clenched, and his eyes were simply cannibalistic. Listening to all kinds of colored remarks outside, Li Wujie, who was sitting next to him, had a strange look on his face, and his eyes intentionally or unintentionally glanced at the flat chest of this senior brother. This small action directly touched Hong Qianye's sensitive nerves, which almost broke through the critical point of his anger. Junior brother Li, what are you looking at? Hong Qianye smiled, and his smile was terrible and chilling. Swish. Li Wujie's hair stood on end, and he felt like he was being stared at by a great terror, as if he was in front of a peerless demon. Hong, senior brother Hong, actually I was blown into the eyes by sand, please don't misunderstand me. Li Wujie rubbed his eyes quickly, pretending that he didn't see anything, but his poor acting skills and excuses made Hong Qianye feel that his IQ was humiliated. Just as Hong Qianye continued to interrogate, Yi Junlin pretended to cough dryly a few times, with a teasing tone, Xiao Hong, be generous, and what's more, they are discussing that fake, and it's a woman, are you a woman? Why are you so anxious as a man? Hong Qianye looked like he had eaten a fly, his expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes twitched wildly. Even if he had thousands of words to refute, it couldn't stand the ironclad facts. To be honest, this group of people verbally offended the prostitute, what does it have to do with him as a man? It's not even close. Yi Junlin poked Hong Qianye with his elbow, and smiled playfully, hey, have you completely accepted the title of Red Fairy, otherwise why are you reacting so strongly? Hong Qianye's face froze, and he shook his head quickly, saying in a decisive tone, I didn't. Really? Yi Junlin asked again. I really didn't. Hong Qianye was so anxious that she almost jumped up and tried his best to deny it. Master believes it. Yi Junlin waved his hand. Hong Qianye was furious, but he could only bear it. The strange thing was that the cultivators present talked about Yi Junlin, Li Wujie, and Hong Qianye, but only missed the fool Bai Xiaoxi. It seemed that in their eyes, Bai Xiaoxi was not worth mentioning at all, and was the one with the weakest presence. Dear guests, this is the dish you ordered. The waiter smiled flatteringly. Then, plates of delicious specialties were served, with a hot aroma that made people salivate. Bai Xiaoxi had no appetite at first, but after seeing this scene, her nose moved and her eyes sparkled, wow, it smells so good. It picked up the ivory chopsticks and quickly picked up the food and put it into its mouth, eating with great joy. Looking at this nervous rat, Yi Junlin couldn't help laughing, and his inner depression was reduced a lot. He picked up the chopsticks and greeted, eat, talk about it later if there is anything. Yes. The other two nodded. Fortunately, this storm of condemnation did not last too long, and the topic shifted to Yaowang Valley. Many monks who came here for the reputation were full of longing, hoping to use this opportunity to achieve a counterattack. Some of them either want to obtain precious medicines to impact their realms and soar to the sky, or they are medicine dealers who want to make a fortune by reselling famous medicines. In short, the Medicine King Valley at that time will definitely be a place where dragons fight and tigers fight. On the other side, in a higher corridor, a graceful woman in yellow crossed her arms and sneered, Uncle Fan, did you hear that? Everyone is scolding Yi Junlin and others. If you ask me, this is what people want. Fan Dizheng sighed, Miss, they are just talking nonsense, and strong people of that level will not be shaken by rumors from the outside world. Even if thousands of people point fingers at them, what does it matter? Uncle Fan, why do you always speak for that big bastard? And Miaoi stomped her feet in anger and complained. Fan Dizheng smiled bitterly, okay, I won't say anything, right? Go to the room and see if there is anything missing. I will ask the store to add it immediately. And Meowie snorted and turned her head to walk into the exquisite wing room. Oh, this kid. Fan Dezheng shook his head. Soon, the sumptuous meal was finished. Except for Bai Xiaoxi, who was very satisfied, the other three were all unhappy. Guys, please come this way. The waiter extended his hand enthusiastically and took them to their respective rooms. And Yi Junlin and the others happened to pass by Fan Dezheng again. Fan Dezheng was looking at the hooded figures retreating in the distance, his heart skipping a beat inexplicably. Uncle Fan, what are you looking at? And Meowie walked out of the room with her little hands behind her back. I can feel that the strength of those people is unfathomable, especially the leader. It actually makes me feel powerless from the bottom of my heart. Fan Dezheng said solemnly with a solemn look on his face. How is that possible? And Meowie's beautiful eyes widened, her pretty face full of disbelief. You must know that the great elder of the Taoist sect in front of you has reached the Mahayana perfection, and he has mastered several ancient secret techniques of the sect, and his strength is terrifying. As a result, even such a being was afraid of those people just now, especially the leader, who felt ashamed. Let me ask, how powerful should that person be? Could it be a virtual immortal? An idea flashed through her mind, and Meowie swallowed her saliva, and then rejected this ridiculous idea. Please. That's the realm of transcending tribulation. Among any force in the eastern region, they are aloof. Even in Taoist sect, one of the top 10 immortal sects, there are only a handful of strong people in the tribulation realm, and they don't show their bodies easily. They are either practicing in seclusion or choosing to sleep. Except for the white-haired old devil who took the lead in robbing their fleet before, and Meowie didn't think she would meet another one by chance. Uncle Fan, why do you need to boost other people's ambitions and destroy your own prestige? And Meowie said softly. Fan Dezheng smiled bitterly and said, Miss, we'd better be careful when we go out. After all, it's the time when the Medicine King Valley is about to open. I don't know how many powerful practitioners are pouring into this inn. Even if there are seniors who are stronger than me, it's normal. Oh. And Meowie could only nod, but she still felt that Uncle Fan was overly worried. Late at night. The bright full moon hangs high in the sky, emitting cold moonlight. Yi Junlin stood with his hands behind his hands, looking at the beautiful scenery of the bamboo forest outside the window, his handsome face showing some emotion. It has been almost a year since I traveled to this world. Fortunately, thanks to Tongzi's attentive service, my life was pretty good. Ding, it has been detected that the host is very lonely. This system can provide free voice services. Would you like to enable the experience? At this moment, the sweet Lolita sound sounded in my mind. Yes, it was the system. Yi Junlin was speechless. Tongzi, you are quite good at choosing the right time. Should I praise you? Or should I praise you very much? No. Yi Junlin decisively refused. What kind of outrageous operation is it to have a voice chat with the system? If this spreads out, where will my face as a Chinese traveler be? Other side. In a shadowed corner of the Long Men Inn, more than a dozen strange figures with snake heads and human bodies walked out. Their eyes were dark purple, their forked tongues hissed out of their mouths, and their aura was particularly evil. Everyone looked towards the inn with their eyes filled with cruel and ferocious killing intent. Distinguished Lord Priest, are you sure you need to take action now? One of his subordinates asked respectfully. Yakiagu wears a silver crown and gorgeous robes that symbolize status. He holds a staff inlaid with emeralds, emitting a mysterious green light in the night. It hissed and stuck out its tongue, its eyes were cruel and ferocious, and its cold and gloomy voice sounded like it was coming from hell. In order to weaken the resistance of the human race, tonight's massacre plan will start from this inn. All for the holy war of the underworld. The men behind him said solemnly. Yes, this group of creatures came from the evil snake clan among the hundreds of tribes in the abyss. This time, they were led by the senior priests of the tribe and specially sneaked into Tianling City to carry out an assassination mission. They understood that because the Medicine King Valley was about to open, this city would be filled with monks from all over the eastern region, including many powerful human beings with advanced cultivation. In this case, they might as well take advantage of this moment to clear out some of the backbone for the Mingyuan army's counterattack. Lay a solid foundation in the eastern region. Of course, the reason why they dare to do this is naturally based on something. But now, because Longmen Inn has the largest number of guests, Yelugu and the others are eyeing it. Act immediately and start setting up the dream formation. Yelugu said coldly. The fantasy formation is an extremely ancient formation. The outside world has almost lost records about it, but it is still well preserved in the evil snake clan. This formation can make people sleep silently and enter a dream composed of desires, until the spirit is wiped out and reduced to an empty shell of a walking corpse. There must be no interruptions during this period, otherwise there is a risk of failure. Swish, swish, a dozen evil snake clan creatures set off separately, occupying various positions in the Longmen Inn. They cut their palms with knives, purple blood flowed out, and then they drew lines on the ground. The ancient and obscure lines gradually took shape, exuding an extremely weird aura, and the whole body shone with a strange purple glow. Invisibly, a mysterious and strange force enveloped Longmen Inn silently. More than a dozen creatures of the evil snake clan were maintaining the formation, not daring to show any signs of fatigue. They were concentrating on it, fearing that anything might go wrong. Because once there is a mistake, it will cause loopholes, causing individual sleeping monks to wake up and disrupt the entire plan. The mana in Yelugu's body surged and boiled, crazily pouring into the staff in his hand, and the emerald exuded a breathtaking brilliance. Yelugu believed that with his cultivation in the Mahayana realm and the other dozen or so backbone members of the clan in the fusion realm, if he used the dream formation with all his strength, it would be enough to bring down all the creatures below the tribulation realm. Many monks staying in the hotel began to fall asleep unknowingly. Some were lying on the table with saliva flowing from the corners of their mouths. Some remained in a meditating posture, but their spirits had fallen into sleep. At this time, they were all having sweet dreams, realizing their long-awaited wishes in their dreams. On the broken battlefield, the monks from all over the Kunlun realm were desperate. They watched the alien army bloodbath in all directions. The scene was extremely miserable, like the end of the world. Heaven is going to destroy me, Kunlun. A white-haired old man shouted sadly. The alien army was raging like locusts, massacring cities and exterminating tribes wherever it went, leaving mountains of corpses and seas of blood everywhere.